Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron here. Going to try to answer the question today, what is textual criticism of the Bible? We're here in America, so obviously we have the Bible in English. Spanish speakers would have the Bible in Spanish, French would have it in French, and Italians would have it in Italian, and on and so forth. It's considered to be the most translated book ever. So, English didn't come about, modern English, till William Tyndale, 1526 and around. So what textual criticism does is it tries to take what are known as the original languages and the closest they can get to the original manuscripts and piece them together to show what texts are supposed to be in the Bible and what texts are not, such as the pseudepigrapha, such as the apocrypha, such as the forgotten books of Eden, on and so forth. People say, well, Constantine took all these books out. Constantine decided the canon. Well, he didn't. He just didn't. That's not historical fact. And so, so what is supposed to be in the Bible? And so, higher criticism is what's supposed to be in the Bible, canonical criticism, what is supposed to be in the canon of scriptures at 66 books, 83 books, on and so forth. Again, pseudepigrapha, lost books of the Bible, forgotten books of Eden, and all this canonical criticism. Then higher criticism, this book claims to be written by Paul. Did Paul really write it? This book claims to be written by John, or maybe it didn't claim to be written by John. We don't know who it was claimed to be written by. Did John actually write it? Revelation, same way. Did Moses really write the Pentateuch? Were there parts of the Pentateuch that Moses wrote, did not write? How do we determine that? This is what's known as higher textual criticism. And lower criticism is, gets down in specific translational issues and the text itself. You might have a transposition of a particular Greek word or something like that. What is it supposed to be? How would we know this? Is there any train of thought in Paul's writing that would lead us to say that this particular text would be right and this particular text would be wrong? And were there any errors in particular translations in any languages? And what did these Hebrew and Greek words mean in their original context? So textual criticism, when you go back, Moses is writing in the 1400s BC. The earliest copies of this we would have anything of would basically be from the 6th century BC. And this would be the silver amulets of number 6, verses 24 through 26. Number 6, 24 through 26. And so this would be the earliest parts of that writing. And then the Dead Sea Scrolls. You might have a Genesis from the Dead Sea Scrolls from even the 3rd century BC, depending on who's debating all this and that type thing. The Isaiah scroll from maybe the 1st or 2nd century BC. And then in New Testament, you would have hundreds of languages. The Bible's translated in hundreds of languages within just a few years of the death of Jesus Christ. And so it's not just Greek, and nobody's for sure that the entire New Testament was written in Greek. That's an assumption, by the way. But so then you would have, Sahidic and Bohairic and Old Italia and just many different languages, the Syriac, the Peshitta, besides the Koine Greek, the Latin, and just many different languages that would come to us. And then you would have quotes, like 86,000 plus quotes in early church writings that range anywhere from the 1st century AD to the 5th and 6th century AD. So it's a piecing together. Now, one of the amazing things, like in the Greek language, the New Testament overwhelmingly, even though there's no two Greek manuscripts exactly alike, because the printing press wasn't until the 1400s, so they were having to do it by hand, that the overwhelming 99% are exact, except for, just a dot here and a scribal error here and a letter there. They're exact. And so what's happened is really secular people have, beginning in the 17th century, trying to attack the paper pope of the Protestant, which is the Bible, have come up and said, well, we found this scrap of paper, we found the Nag Hammadi library, trash dump, and it's got a few scraps in here. So is this casts doubt on the Bible and the historicity of the Bible. And it's really attacked by Satan. So forever, O Lord, thy words are preserved. God has preserved his word. Inspiration without preservation is nonsensical. God did not have the Bible all around the world, and then here in the end time we just started finding it, and we can really improve it from scraps, from trash heaps and stuff like that, and from forgeries like Sinaiticus and very probably Vaticanus. It just doesn't work like it. And some of even the Rylands papyri very likely forged. So textual criticism, that's what textual criticism of the Bible is. Notice the word criticism. It goes back to critical theory, about questioning all the foundations and pillars of society to create something new. Done, really, it's going to be under the aegis of humanism and Satanism. Be careful. You got a Bible, read it. King James Version in English. Talk with you later in Jesus' name.